confidence is in you. you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. 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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Never stop. You've always been faithful. You've always been true. Doesn't matter if we feel it. Doesn't matter even if we see it. We know you're working all things for our good. Oh, working for our good. Working for our good. Yes, Lord.
I was talking to one of my mentors yesterday, somebody that I respect a lot, my mom, and she was sharing something that God had been speaking to her about her identity and how He was showing her how the way that we perceive God, the things that we hone in on about God's character are reflections of how He has made us, and the ways that He has made us in His image to reflect Him specifically are things that we are drawn to in His character. And she was saying how she had been dwelling on who God is and what she saw, and seeing that reflection was really transforming her. So the next song we're singing is No Victim, and about our identity. And we were just singing about God's identity and all that He is. And so I just want to keep that in mind as we sing about who we are. We are a reflection of our Creator. We are made in His image. And so it's an exercise that I would encourage you to do at some point, is reflect on who God is in your perception, and then see that in yourself. It's really beautiful. I am no orphan, and I'm not a poor man. The kingdom's now become my own, and with the King I found a home. He's not just reviving, not simply restoring. Greater things have yet to come. Greater things have yet to come. And He is my Father, and I do not wonder if His plans for me are good, and if He'll come through like He should, 'cause He is provision, who He is, and enough wisdom to usher in my brightest days, to turn my mourning into praise. He's not just reviving, not simply restoring. Greater things have yet to come. Yes, Lord, greater things have yet to come. King
think that we forget how awesome it is to just sit at Jesus' feet. So I'm just going to have her keep playing. I just want you to sit there. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pray. Just sit there. Because if you guys remember with Mary and Martha, Jesus said, you will be written about for all of eternity. Not for what she did, not for what she said, not because she was praying or worshiping, but because she just sat at Jesus' feet. So I'm just going to have Anna play the piano for a little bit. And I just want you to just sit there and listen. I just pray, Father God, we just want to encounter you. We want to hear your voice. We want to be with you. We want to know you. All distractions go, no matter how cute they are. And we just want to hear you. We just want to encounter you. We want it to be a living God that we experience. Where it says that we lean back against you. A beautiful Father. A love like no other, God. I just pray that we learn to encounter you in a deeper levels of intimacy and deeper levels of love. That we learn how to just rest and just be when we spend time with you. There's times to pray, there's times to war, and there's times to sit at your feet. And for us not to undervalue or devalue that, Father God. We might not stop this soon, so you might want to get comfortable.
look at that. It was off. Hey, Bubby. To you. Hey, Bubby. What are you doing over here? Hey, right here. Right here. No. Where are you going? Yep. I know. I introduced him to the drums, and now he can't get enough. Hi, how are you guys? Are we good? Yeah? I haven't been up here for a while. It feels weird. Like I feel way too elevated up here. I could stand on the floor, you're right. And it feels much better. But they made one of these, and so I'm supposed to use it because of cameras. As you can see, we've got something a little different set up today. I'm going to need 3 very brave volunteers. Now, before you come up here, I just want to let you know that I'm going to put you on the spot, but it's not going to be like a super embarrassing thing. I have a list of questions, and I really just want to have the church, the body, come up, those who are willing to just answer these questions as honestly as possible. So, we have 1, we have 2, we have a 3rd, because I asked him already. Yeah, we talked yesterday. So there's a microphone there for you guys to share. You want to go ahead and just make sure it's working? Just a little test.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah?
Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear her? Fantastic. All right, those of you, please introduce yourselves to everyone who does not know you.
Hi, I'm Nathan Gregory.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, I'm still Stephanie.
Hi, still Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
They don't have anything else.
How are you guys? Good. Yeah? All right, so today's topic is going to be on patience, the topic of patience. And I'm not going to answer these questions. I'm just going to ask them because I've always wanted to feel like I'm a talk show host and I have people on. So, Dr. Phil's talk show, except I have hair. Well, actually, no. Dr. Phil and Uncle Phil, which both nicknames I hold. I have more hair than both of them, so I feel very accomplished. Wow. All right, so patience. Do you guys know anything about patience?
It's a fruit of the Spirit.
It is a fruit of the Spirit. Okay, so I've got a couple questions here. Are you guys okay if I ask them? You guys can all answer them. You guys can answer none of them if you really want to. Okay, they've got a plan. They've got a plan now. So this is going to be much better now that they have a plan. All right, I have really high hopes now. Okay, so first question. What is patience? How would you guys define patience and what it is?
Okay, so in our family, we have a saying that I'm only going to say the first half of, and it's patience is a virtue and virtue is a grace. You guys probably all know that. There's more to it, but that's the
Why
first
don't we
thing
get to
that
hear the
pops in my
second
head.
half?
It's dumb.
Not applicable.
Okay.
It's not applicable. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant. But there's actually a lot of truth in that. It is a virtue, obviously, but it's a grace. Like patience has to be by the grace of God. I feel like the human version of patience is tolerance. Like you're allowing for something to happen as much as you can bear.
Yeah.
But patience has to be from God.
Okay.
I don't think we need to go down the line. I think that was good.
You don't think what?
That was good.
You have a microphone.
Pause
So.
your head. Or no?
I mean, I'm still formulating. You have
Okay.
to answer. Go ahead.
I just think of waiting.
Waiting.
Like, when I think of patience, I just think of waiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you say waiting? Is that like a
I mean,
I'm being patient for my dessert? Is it just any form of waiting?
There is
or?
a saying like waiting patiently. Like,
Okay.
so like,
it's
yeah, it's not
like
like
a type of
it's not like
waiting.
waiting is patient, but yeah, it's under waiting. Yeah.
okay. Cool.
So a lot of the time I deal with patients usually involves other people.
Okay.
So a lot of it also is just having compassion for them. And so not trying to rush and hurry through something, but just going at their pace.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. What is the purpose of patience? What is patience's purpose? So, like, if I have a wrench has a purpose, right? Does patience have a purpose? And what might that be?
I think of when I teach little kids
Okay.
over at a little church over in Trinity, where I go to school. Whenever I'm with them, and we're gonna do, we usually have them come because we have like Nerf Wars or some fun event like dodgeball or something, but that's always at the end.
Okay.
And so whenever we're doing like the Bible lesson or we're having to draw or I'm wanting them to act out something and they're like, I don't want to do this. I just want to play dodgeball. I just want to play Nerf Wars. I tell them, no, like, no, but we are going to have to, we're going to be able to do Nerf Wars in a little bit, but I'm going to need you to wait. I'm going to need you to be patient for that. And in doing that, if you're just, I think the purpose of patience is if you're just going from one great thing that you want to do every single second, then you're not, then you're just doing whatever you feel like doing. But patience, I think the purpose of patience is allowing you to actually go through life and experience things even if you don't want to. It's not just doing what you feel. It's doing everything. So
It's to help you get stuff out
exactly
of the waiting period.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the build up before something great. It's the anticipation.
Okay.
It's the steps that you have to take to get to the next great thing. Like, I also mentor teenagers, and a lot of the time when I meet a new one who I want to invest in, I can't just walk up to them and say, hi, my name's Stephanie, tell me the worst thing that's ever happened to you, I want to pray with you about it. Right. It involves communicate. I would love to, that would be so easy, but they don't respond to that. You have to talk to them, you have to invest in them and what their interests are, and like have conversations about things I don't care about, but they do, and that's important to them, so it's important to me. And then it's through those steps that I'm able to go like, hey, like, how are you doing? And then the floodgates are open.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I want to agree with that. And patience is part of, like, it implies a process. And so I think that's a huge thing they were both saying. Nathan, in a personal example of waiting for the greater thing to still enjoy and be content with where you are. And then what Stephanie said about being in a relationship, both of those things involve process. And I think that most of what God has created involves process or a journey or something.
Gotcha.
And so patience can be applied to all of those situations. Because otherwise you're not getting the full experience. You're just thinking about, it's just anticipation. Patience is not anticipation.
Gotcha.
Patience is being fully where you need to be.
It's good. You guys are great at this. Like, I'm getting so much out of this right now. I feel like you're teaching me this evening. I was about to say this morning, because like normal, it's weird.
I woke up a few hours
It's weird.
ago.
All right. Is patience importante for believers? Is patience important for us as believers and Christians? And if so, why might that be?
Yes, it is important.
Okay.
Do you have something on? I'm thinking. Okay. Well, okay. So the Bible says that people will know us by our love.
Yeah.
And you can't have love without patience. I mean, you can, but it's an imperfect kind of love. Yeah, because think about what's the negative of that? What's the flip side? If you don't have patience, you love someone until you are done, until you're annoyed, until you're frustrated, until the first, displeasing thing comes your way. No one will enjoy that. No one will appreciate that. No one will see that as love. So yeah, love is important, or patience is important.
Yeah. And just God's timing tends to be slower than our timing. So while God is laying down the frameworks, we can either wait patiently in his grace and in his love and get to enjoy the journey with him, or we can be in a hurry and we can rush and we can miss a lot of things along the way. So yes, patience is important.
I really like what they said.
Awesome. Have you ever been impatient? And if so, what do you think caused that impatience? I did warn you that I would put you on the spot. Yep. like how you guys are giving a good example of patience in your responses right now.
Yeah, right now, I'm very excited for school to end.
Yeah.
Not that I love school, not that I don't love school, because I do like school, but when it gets to the end of the year and I procrastinate a lot of assignments, the assignments don't seem fun. So I have a place where I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited for school to end, because then I want to take a period of rest at like some house and go and just spend like a vacation somewhere. So I'm really
You're just
excited
gonna
about that.
Go squat at some random residence.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
It's gonna be wonderful.
Yep.
But I'm going to, and so I have this entire week. I've been wanting to go there right now. Like,
Yeah.
really, can I just leave? And I was thinking about it. In like the Lord of the Rings, I was reading that book earlier. If Frodo,
book?
what?
Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings. If you guys know Frodo, yeah. If you guys know Frodo, did he want to go to Mordor? Joel, did he? No, he did not. Did he feel like going to Mordor? No, he did. And one of the things about Frodo is that he would have never learned or grew anything in his life if he had stayed in the Shire. Like, he would have never learned in anything. Like, I can say, yes, I could leave school behind.
Yeah.
I could go to my vacation right now, but I wouldn't grow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't learn anything. I would just, school sucks, which it doesn't. That's what I'm feeling, though. So if I just stay with that feeling and just follow that, I wouldn't learn anything.
Gotcha.
So that's my experience.
So, not my story, but because this is implied to like all of my little things, and I can't think of one specific thing, but
it was tough.
yeah. So I heard the story once about this kid. He wanted to build his mom something in a wood shop class, and he was kind of in a hurry, so he didn't sharpen his tools. He just went straight to work.
Yep.
And 6 hours later, he's still working on this project, and his woodwork teacher comes in. He's like, "What are you still doing here?" He's like, "I'm not done. You can tell I'm not done." And he looked at his tools, and he's like, "Dude, if you had just sharpened these, you would have been done hours ago." So he skipped something that took 15 minutes and ended up wasting like 4 extra hours. And I've had many things like that where it's like, I'm in a hurry. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to get gas. I could hold off on it and then end up on the side of the road without gas. Yeah. So.
That's good.
Can you repeat the question again so I can hear that?
The question is, have you ever been impatient? And what do you think led to that impatience?
I'm impatient a lot of the time, especially when I am already in movement. If I'm like kind of chilling already, like I'll be all right. But if I'm already in movement, anything that looks like an obstacle is annoying. And like whether it's like even on the way here, I was driving and I took 60. And we hit like almost all green lights. I only had to stop like once or twice. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like, I love this because I hate stopping for red lights because I hate stopping.
Yeah.
I hate it. Once I'm already going, I want to continue going. And that's something I'm growing in because I do that in every area of my life. Like, once I'm already going, I would prefer not to pause.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from a place of unrest. If I haven't started out my day restful, if I haven't started from a place of rest with God, then I'm going to be impatient more often because there's already this inner chaos, you know, even if I'm not aware of it. And so it makes it harder to pause because I haven't even started that way. So you have to go through longer of a process to get there. Yeah.
All right, now here's a fun question. Are you guys ready? This is going to be a big one. This is going to be a thinker, all right? Do you guys believe that our society as a whole encourages patience?
No.
And if not, or if so, why? Like, what's your reasoning behind your answer?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the fact that our society specifically is one that is mainly focused around productivity.
Okay.
And although you may need to be patient to have a product that is you can actually get done faster in preparation, we don't really value that. We value busyness. It's people like flaunt it as a trophy to to see how busy they can be. That's a competition.
Yeah.
And you have to validate your rest. And so I think the patience thing, that's not really considered even. It's actually kind of irrelevant, I feel like, in our society. Why would you be patient if the goal is to find the most effective way to do something the fastest?
Yeah.
You know, how to self-gratify yourself the easiest. You know, patience isn't really valued.
Mm-hmm.
We also live in a culture of instant gratification. So people will have a set amount of time that they're willing to be patient, but once you're past that time, it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, what immediately comes to mind are infomercials. You can have it now for $9.95.
Three payments.
Three easy
Three
payments.
payments of $9.95.
Plus shipping and handling.
Plus shipping and handling.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll throw you in a Snuggie
Yeah, so when I think of
or
like
a ShamWow,
like
whichever
products,
one you choose.
yeah, and like so much of our culture is dominated by advertisements, and when you think of patience, who cares about patience? We want our product now. We want it the fastest. We don't want to care about about.
Like when I order my Amazon package, I'm like, it's gonna be here in a week.
Exactly. You're like, oh
What
no.
is that?
That's yeah. So that's what I think. When in terms of the culture, we're so driven by products and that.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
All right, I have my last question here. What do you guys think leads to you being patient? Like, what promotes patience inside of you?
Biggest thing for me is when I have a vision and when I have a hope for the future. When I am when I am like firmly implanted on man, like I know that once this ends, I know that God's I know that God's gonna be with me through it all. One of the biggest things is that a lot of patience is like you have to endure suffering through it. A lot of it is good waiting, and a lot in terms of like your feelings. Sometimes you feel good about being patient. Sometimes you don't feel good about being patient. But one of the things that really helps me is having an end goal and having something I can hope in, and also the knowledge that God is going to be with me.
Yeah.
Just like God constantly reminds me, I'm with you, Nathan. I'm with you, Nathan. And so that helps me so much, and just, I can do this because I'm not by myself. If it's by myself, I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
But if I'm with God, then, I can actually go through this. So that's what really helps me.
Yeah, similar to Nathan's, just having an end goal and not putting a time frame on it, especially on long-term goals. Like, be done with college within 4 years, get married 2 years after that, have kids 2 years after that. Ugh, no, ew.
My mom did that and it worked.
Your mom is one of the closest people to Jesus I've ever met, so that she doesn't count. And but yeah, I lost the train of thought.
I'm so sorry.
Having an end goal, even though you don't put a time.
Yes. Okay. And then just God constantly, His presence and just keeping me at peace and my eye on the goal, and also just remembering what I've already done and not being like, it's like, I still have so much left to go, but like I've done all of this to get here, and being like, even though it might not going at a pace that I particularly like, I am still moving, and that's what's ultimately more important.
Yeah, that's huge. Similar to what I was saying earlier, I think it's easier for me to be patient when I've already quieted myself previously. So when I know that I'm already in a place of rest, and when I've let my spirit connect with God's spirit and just, just sit in His presence. And then also knowing that my security is found in Him. So like they were saying, when you're going through a process of something and you don't know when it's going to end, it's easier to be patient when you know that your security isn't found in that thing or that person turning out the way you want it to be, or that relationship or anything like that. It's way easier to be patient when you're resting in the love of God instead of impatiently waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been an absolutely fantastic panel today. I am so honored to have had the ability to speak to all of you. And you guys can get off my stage now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do I just put this?
Yeah, you can just set it there. Well, so now that they've basically preached everything that I'm going to say, then we can just go home now. I'm kidding. All right. That was fantastic. How many of you guys felt like you got something out of that? Yeah? Cool. All right. So I have one last question to ask the audience. And when I say audience, I mean my wife. Anna, do you think I am a very patient person? And this is going to be a complicated answer.
You're the most patient and least patient person I know.
Yeah, from my pastor, he says, you are the most patient and least patient person that I know. Yes, there are things that I can be very patient about, but then there are also things that I am like, if it's a project that I'm working on, and it's like, yeah, just do that tomorrow. I'm like, no, I want to go Home Depot now. I want to buy what I need right now. I don't care if it's not in my budget. I want it now. I want to do this thing now. What else am I going to do? I'm just going to sit here on the couch and maybe read. But there are things that I am patient with that are not coming to mind. But have you guys ever, okay, before I go into this, I've been doing a study on love, more specifically 1 Corinthians 13, and how it just breaks down like, these are the attributes of love. And the very first one on the list, can anybody tell me what it is? It's patience, yes, depending on translation. And I was reading this, and I was like, why is patience the first one, God? And have you guys ever prayed and asked a question and got a seemingly entirely off-topic answer from the Lord? Yes, maybe. Okay. I got one of those. So I'm going to try to read. This is directly from my little notes here. I was like, God, why is patience the first descriptor of love? And he was like, Philip, I don't get stressed or worried about things. And I was like, that's fantastic. I wouldn't assume you get stressed or worried about things because you're God. But that doesn't answer my question. And then he goes on to say, I know who I am, and I am fully aware of what I can do. He said, I feel things like heartbreak, anger, and frustration, but I never feel stress. I am secure in who I am and in where I stand. Stress and worry do not allow for patience because of the anticipation of pain and a sense of urgency. Security and identity allow for patience. And then I was like, you're much better at answering questions than I am, God. Like, I didn't even ask the right questions, and then he answers the right question that I didn't even ask. But that just struck me. I was like, wow, just like the panel was saying, you know, I feel like I can be more patient when I have a goal, and that goal does not have like a deadline that I just have to be really, really quick to get over, like to get done. I also feel more secure when I have a hope in that thing. You know? And I know for me, I get very impatient when I feel insecure about the future or when I'm stressing about something in the future. It's like, oh, I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if this can happen. But I also get very stressed when I have identity issues. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to do that thing. Oh, I have to work right now really hard so that I make sure I don't miss this opportunity that's going to pass me by. You know? That's when I feel the most impatient. And I'm going to be honest with you guys that I have been struggling lately with identity stuff and with patience. I'm going to give you guys like a little picture into my head. This would have been a few months ago. It is less so now because I feel like God has been humbling me a little bit, which is very good. I need to be humbled and brought low because I'm very high and mighty all the time as I look down at people. But like inside my head, a few months ago, I'm like, wow, I'm a pilot. I'm training to be a missionary overseas and change the world. And I am radical about my faith. I lead a group of prayer people who pray all the time. And I'm the spearhead of it. And like, it's like, oh, Philip, you would never think something that I would think stuff that arrogant. And like, that's where I got a lot of my security from. It's like, wow, look at all the things I'm doing so good right now. Like, isn't this amazing? I am just like, I know, like patting myself on the back, like, there's no way I can be brought low from this place. I am so secure in who I am and in my awesomeness. And right now, I am like, I was also like, oh, and I'm like a pastor, part-time pastor. So like spiritually, I am like above. And right now, I'm not a pastor. I fly once a month whenever I'm like, I just can't not do it. Like all the things that I was putting my like hope and identity in. And missions, it's like, what am I doing for missions right now? Like I'm not going anywhere. I don't have any cool trips planned to exotic places where I hike for miles and then come back and just like humble brag about it. Like, hey guys, I just came back from this missions trip. We walked and slept in hammocks. It's like, oh, that was so rough, Philip. I'm like, I know. We were so good for the Lord. It's like, oh, I didn't lead anyone to like Jesus, or I preached in one church. Oh, what am I really doing with myself? Like, what is it that I have been putting my security and identity in? And I got this cool picture, and it's and God was saying like, don't build on your own product. Don't build on your own product. So I was building my identity in that which I was producing. Look at these things that I'm doing. I'm doing these things really good. That is my identity. And I need one more volunteer. I need one more volunteer. Brave volunteer, not someone who's come up before. Abby? Oh, we get the athlete. I could not have chosen a better person for this. Guys, this is a college athlete, all right? D1 school. She got the full scholarships. All right, Abby, I'm going to ask you to do an athletic feat right now, okay? I want you to hold yourself up. So like you would pick up an apple and hold an apple, I want you to hold yourself like that. I want you to pick yourself up like an apple. I need some sort of effort, Abby. I need something here.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all you got? Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your... And God is giving me a picture. He's like, that's what you're trying to do right now, Philip. You're trying to build on your own product. And I'm like, you know, I can do it for like a second maybe. I can hold myself in the air, but I'm really just falling. I cannot build on my own product. I cannot build my identity on the things I do or produce. Okay, are you guys following? You feeling me? All right, cool. Where am I at? I get lost in my notes. I make them like all organized and stuff with the little tick marks, and then I forget which tick mark I'm at. And I'm like, let me just read through these things so much better. See, I'm not even a good speecher, you know? And I was building my identity on my speeching ability. It's just not gonna work. Have you guys ever heard of Lecrae? Lecrae, he's a rapper. I really like one of his songs. It's called Boasting, and that's been speaking to me lately. I'm just gonna read you guys part of it. Tomorrow's never promised, but it is we swear. Think we're holding our own, just a fistful of air. God has never been obligated to give us life. If we fought for our rights, we'd be in hell tonight. Mere sinners owe nothing but a fierce hand. We never loved, we pushed away his pierced hands. We rejected his love, grace, kindness, and mercy, dying of thirst, yet willing to die thirsty. Eternally worthy, how could I live for less? Patiently, you turned my heart away from selfishness. I volunteer for your sanctifying surgery. I know the Spirit's purging me of everything that's hurting me. Remove the veil from my darkened eyes, so now every morning I open your word to see the sun rise. What? I hope in nothing, boast in nothing, only in your suffering. I live to show your glory, dying to tell your story. And then the chorus, if this life has anything to gain at all, I count it loss if I can't hear you, feel you, because I need you. Can't walk this earth alone. I recognize I'm not my own, so before I fall, I need to hear you, feel you, and live to make my boast in you alone. So what that song is showing, he's like, I'm trying to hold all this stuff. Like, I was boasting in me and building upon my own product. But that is like a fistful of air. like me trying to hold myself up. There is no foundation with which I can build on in me, because I need to be held up by something. And it goes to say, like, the only thing I can really boast in, the only thing worth boasting in, is God, because he has given me everything that I have. I've also been reading Job, and when I say, like, I've been reading, I mean, like, today I read Job. It wasn't like weeks before that I've been like deep. It was like today I started reading Job. But what I realized is right in the beginning, when all of these things were taken away from Job, he never said, why have all of these things been stripped from me? Why have all this been stolen from me or taken? Have you guys felt like I had this thing and it was stolen from me? Like I had this hope in this thing and it was ripped away from me. Or I had this possession and it was ripped away from me. He immediately goes, look, everything I have been given was given by God. He is the one who gives and he is the one who takes away. As I came into the world, I'm going to leave. He understands that while we're in this life, we really don't gain or lose anything. Because we could pile as much as we want, but in one instance, it's no longer ours. Legally, all those things will change hands the moment we die. You know, even like, think of the great pharaohs of Egypt. Now they're like, look, when I die, all of this wealth is coming with me. All of these things are coming with me. Now where are they? Museums making other people money. Even the pharaohs who's like, I'm going to die with all my wealth, are now making other people money. Their stuff is making other people money. You can take nothing out of this life that you didn't bring in. And we brought in nothing. Nothing but our birthday suits. That's all we're going to be able to. We can't even really take that out of this world, actually. That gets to rot here. Yeah, I'm going to make that a t-shirt. Let's make that a t-shirt. Even my birthday suit's going to rot here. All right, have you guys ever read the Sermon on the Mount? Sermon on the Mount. How many of you guys have ever been confused at how in one book of the Bible it's called the Sermon on the Mount and the other book it's called the Sermon on the Plains? I watched the cool video where the guy found the spot and he's like, it's right where like a big valley meets hills. And so if he's up on a hill and you're sitting like with Jesus, it looks like just a big valley. But if you're like on the other side, it looks like hills. So it's like interpretation, perspective. It's just perspective of the writer, which I thought was cool. Or it happened multiple times, and Jesus has had it all written out in his papyrus and was like, all right, let's hit our points today. You know, I would feel much better if Jesus even needed sermon notes like I do, but he probably didn't. So, all right, anyways, I'm going to read part of this, and I think this part of the Sermon on the Mount really deals with identity and security that lends itself to patience. This is the part that says, therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothed the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? For the Gentiles seek after these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Therefore don't be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. How many of you guys have ever taken the SAT? Hopefully that's not us. When I was taking the SAT, I was really worried, because I was like, God, if I bomb this, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to do, I will not get into a good Bible college and become a great pastor and change the world. My entire future rests on this SAT. This is like legitimately a conversation, maybe not as dramatic. And God was just like, do you think that I cannot use you just because you bomb an SAT? I was like, yeah, I guess that is a little silly. I mean, I guess John the Baptist just lived in the woods all the time, and you kind of used him for stuff. Like the greatest guy, the guy Jesus was like, look, out of all of you, he's the greatest. And he points to the dude, the hermit in the wilderness, who's like, make way, the way of the Lord, wearing camel's hair and eating locust. How, I would be very insulted, honestly, if I'm following Jesus and he's like, you want to know who the greatest is? It's that guy. I would be like, are you kidding me? But that guy was like considered the greatest in the kingdom of heaven by Jesus. I feel like he was probably like pretty patient seeming. I mean, he just kind of wandered around the desert and ate whatever he found. You know, that's not a guy who's like, look, I got to make sure the budget's in shape. My 401k is growing and not shrinking. Oh man, this coronavirus has just killed all my stocks. I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I don't think John was worried about those things. John probably comes into town to get another camel skin jacket. And they're like, have you heard about everything that's going on, John? He's like, nope. Did you see the sunrise? It was really nice. That's just how I imagine him. I don't know. I like to, whenever you read a book, you like to add personality to the characters. Don't quote me on any of this is really who this person was like day to day. I just like to muse. But God's like, Philip, if you bomb this, I can still use you. Why are you worried? And then I bombed my SAT, and God is still using me. So that's awesome. And just like Stephanie was saying, when you look back at the things God has done and said, it can help give you perspective for the future and what you're going to go through later. What I feel like in this passage really deals with what we're talking about is where he's like, look at the birds of the air. They're not sowing or reaping, but I'm providing for them. Are you not much more valuable than them? All right, so identity, I think, is a big hindrance sometimes to our ability to be patient. Because if I don't know if I am worthy or loved, if I don't know if God's grace extends to me, how can I sit there patiently, calmly, peacefully waiting for the next thing God is laying out? Instead, I'm stressed because I think that might pass me by because I wasn't good enough. So I'm going to busy myself right now to make me the best Christian I can be and be pastoring and training for piloting stuff overseas and places. Identity lends itself to patience when we have an identity rooted in God. All right? And I also think security for the future is really talked about here. It says, for the Gentiles seek after these things, but your heavenly Father knows that you need them. Seek first my kingdom, and all of this is going to be given to you as well. So that's a future thing that he's saying. Look, if you're seeking after me, all of these will be given to you. All of these things that you need for your life will be given to you. Now, sometimes my own goals in life do not lend to my being patient. Because I want a house that's like this. I want a bank account that looks like this. I want a car that's like this. I want clothes that are like this. And those goals may be set higher than the needs that I have. So I'm worried about a goal that God's never even said, that's what I'm going to provide for you. And I'm getting all worried and stressed, like, God, you're not providing because I don't have my new vehicle. I don't have that cute new romper that I really want to get, but it's like $30, Yeah, male rompers. I don't want a romper. I don't know which cameras. I don't want a romper. You don't want me in a romper. Now, if I ever show up in a romper, it's going to be in a full jumpsuit like the military guys wear, like the green all the way to the ankles and to the wrists. Everything will be covered. And water will be pouring out of the bottom because I'm sweating so bad. Seek first my kingdom, and all these things will be added to you as well. So he lays out first identity. You are more valuable than these things which I already provide for. And also, I will give these things to you in the future. So, how many of you guys have ever been like, I am so good at patience, even when I think I'm like a dirtbag, and like I want to be used by God, but I'm a dirtbag, and so God's probably not going to use me, but I am at peace and have patience. No, it is hard. I have never done it successfully. I've tried, and I've never done it successfully. Identity and security lends itself to our ability to walk in patience. So also like love, all right? How many of you guys have ever tried to love someone, but it's like every time you're around them, you're like, I don't think they like me, so I'm like not sure if I can approach, or I'm not sure if I can really, show grace to them, or how they're gonna take it. Because I'm looking for some sort of acceptance or identity from this other person to validate that I am a good person. And that's hindering my ability to love them because I'm looking for that identity from them. So I really need to get my identity from somewhere else in order to love people and have patience toward other people. Because if I know what it is to be like whole inside, and I see somebody acting in a way that is mean, rude, or like just no bueno, then it's like, all right, I know that there is an identity thing happening in you, or a security thing that's happening in you that's not lending you to be patient. Now that's somewhere where I can pour in, because I see that's somewhere that you need a need fulfilled. So I want to pour into that place, but I have to have a source of that identity and security for myself. So like Nathan and I, we can love each other really well until one of us is having a bad day, if neither of us are getting identity from the source, Because then I'm like, whatever, Nathan, your shoes are stupid. He's like, wow, he doesn't like my shoes, my fashion. All of my look is off right now. I don't know how to approach him or like how to show loving kindness to him. So where are we getting our identity from? And I know like I can say these things and it can be like, yes, I need to get my identity from the Lord. Identity! No, it's not working. I can't produce that. I have to accept that. I can't be like, all right, I need to be identity and good. Like I can't just speak it into my life and be like, no, get in there. Get in there. Have you guys ever tried to take a VHS? Do you guys know what those are? It's the rectangle things that not the case cover for the DVD, it's the actual thing. Okay, have you guys ever like been in a place with kids and one of the kids shoves a car in there? Or there's already a VHS in there and you're like trying to get the VHS to go in, but there's something in the way? I can't force it. Me as the VHS player, I have to be willing to accept. I have to be willing to accept the movie that is getting downloaded into me at the moment, to be displayed for others. Okay? I need a Jesus VHS. I need a Jesus VHS in me. VeggieTales. Yes, I need VeggieTales inside so that other people can know the gospel and truth. By the way, I'm just gonna throw out there. There's a podcast called The Holy Post. It is by Phil Vischer. It is fantastic. Recommend 100% if you're into that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. Need a Jesus VHS. Okay. All right. Our hope. Where is our hope lying? All right. Because we need some sort of security for future. All right. Where is that hope? Where is that future that we're looking at? Is it on the earth or is it in the heavens? Not just like where should it be, but like where is it in you currently? Is it for like, I have all this hope and identity for these things to happen here on this earth for me. And then once those are fulfilled, I can go to heaven. Or is it like, I have an incredible future with Jesus forever. and then we're going to try to do some cool stuff, while we're waiting. It's like, which perspective do we have? Is my hope for things to happen here before I go there, or is my hope for there, and I'm going to try to do some cool stuff here? Because one, if I don't fulfill the stuff here, I either feel like a total failure, or like, praise Jesus, we saw someone changed in the process. Where am I moving toward? Where is my hope at? Is it here or is it there? We, as believers, are part of a bigger story than just our story. All right? Somebody pull up Hebrews 12. Actually, I'm going to read it because the online streamers can't hear it if you do. Unless one of you wants to read it up here on the mic. Nathan, you want to? Hebrews 12. Come on. 1 through 3. 1 through 3. Get up here. You already have it. I don't even have it. Give it up for Nathan. Did you look it up?
No, I was just going to try to do it.
Never mind. I want real quote, not just attempt. Sorry, buddy. What? Nathan, here you go. Here you go, Nathan. That's right. Sorry, that was me being impatient because I didn't have a hope for the future and a security of what was going to happen.
Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us. And let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Looking to Jesus, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who has endured such hostility by sinners against himself, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart.
Thank you, Nathan. All right. So it starts off, now that we are in such a great cloud of witnesses, who is he referring to? He is referring everyone in Hebrews 11. That spans a few thousand years worth of people. So he's saying, now that I am present tense in such a great cloud of witnesses, present tense encompassing a couple thousand years, we are in a story that's bigger than just our story. Okay? The writer of Hebrews is saying, look, you guys are in a great cloud of witnesses currently, and that cloud of witnesses spans thousands of years. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I am in this storyline. We are all in this storyline together. I may not be standing at the same point as like the Apostle Paul or like any of the really cool influential people after him that are not named in the New Testament. Some of them are named, not all of them. But I am currently standing in a cloud of witnesses with those people. My story is bigger than just what I do right now, what I do in my lifetime. I am a part of something that's bigger than me. All right, and it said in verse 2, for the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross. Okay, so the cross in Jesus' head was not his hope on the earth. He's like, I have to do this and then I can go there. It was, I have a joy set before me, which is there, and I'm going to go through this on my way there. I'm going to do this thing on my way there. His eyes were set beyond the earth and what he had to go through here. So where are our eyes? Are our eyes in the education that we're getting right now, on the job that we have and working our way up in the job, on the relationship that we have? And this thing has to go great. Or even like my dreams, like I dream of being a parent and parenting people very well. Is that where all of my hope is lying? Once I do that, then I can go. You guys have all read, or actually, not just a movie. Look at Jacob. He's like, now that I have seen my son Joseph, I can go and be with the Lord. Or the prophet guy who saw baby Jesus. Simeon, thank you, Anna. I knew she would back me up. My wife is amazing and knows like the Bible. It's like Simeon saw baby Jesus and he was like, okay, now I can go. I'm ready for there. Whatever God has for me here, I'm going to do it. but my hope is there, not here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's not like what I can accomplish here is what I'm living for. What I produce here is not what I'm living for. I am living for there. That is where my hope lies, ultimately. And hopefully we'll produce some great things here. Like, we're going to try, but that's where the hope's at. Okay. Let me get back to my notes because I was impatient while Luke, being amazing, threw up the Bible right behind us. Let's see. We have a bonus topic today. We have a bonus topic, which I'm going to get to. It is the topic of honesty. That is not in 1 Corinthians as one of the attributes of love, but we're going to talk about it. So, sometimes I have a problem being honest with my own condition. You know, I believe I am a patient person. I am full of love. And anything that arises in me that doesn't look like that, sometimes I'm like, no, that's not me. Like, no, that's not who I am. But I sometimes have trouble being honest with, like, all right, God, this is actually how I'm acting right now, and this is actually what I'm feeling inside. Like, this is actually what's happening in here. And even on this topic that I have the Jesus answer for, and I whip it out every time it's asked, like, hey, how are you doing? Where does your hope lie? It's like, my hope lies in heaven. Boom, Jesus card. Stamp it. More stamps, more Jesus bucks in the future, you know? But sometimes I have a problem being like, all my hope right now is really lying in my job. Is in the education I can get, is where I can advance while I'm here on the earth, is what I can accomplish here. I have a problem with that because I do want to be a good Christian. You know, I want to be a good follower of Jesus. And I have trouble because I want that so bad, and I'm so impatient for that I'm not able to go through the process and actually get the healing and growth like the panel was talking about. These guys, I'm telling you, they pretty much preached my sermon right there from those questions. I love it. You guys are amazing. But I need to be honest, not just with myself, and like, what is my condition? What do I actually believe right now? And what am I actually feeling about this? And I need to bring that to God and be honest with him about that too. You know, because I've gone to prayer plenty of times and been like, God, I really want you. God, I really want you. God, I really want you. But if I sit down and I'm honest, I'm like, God, I really want to be here right now and I really want to feel you near. But God, my heart really wants other things too. That's not just you. It's not just all for you like an impassioned Christian should be. Like, those are things that go on in my heart. I need to be honest with myself about that and with God about that. Because if I don't actually bring that up, it's like wearing, like, ankle weights, you know? Like, no, look, I can still walk. I'm still walking fine. My legs are on fire right now, but I am still walking fine. And, I have to reach this thing. I can't get off the ground. Sometimes we need to bring that to Jesus and be like, God, I'm carrying this thing right now. I can't get off the ground with it. I don't know how to get past it. That's a hard one for me too. I love understanding things. I love knowing how it works and being able to break it down and figure it out. And when I have to be honest with God and be like, I don't understand. I don't know how to get past this thing that's in my heart right now. That, when I bring that up, I can start to receive identity and security that God is going to get me through this. He is going to teach me. He is going to grow me. And that lends itself to patience, not just for myself, which I need, but for others too. To be honest with the place of I am in a process. I need growth. I am not there yet. But God says he still loves me and he's still here. I now have the ability to be patient with other people who are either not that place of honesty or who are going through something and are not there yet as well. I have to be honest with my condition so I can bring it to God and he can give me that identity and security and really start to bring healing. Do you guys know anything about like metallurgy? That's like the processing metals of different kinds. The Bible makes a few cool references to it when it's like, you know, the God is for the heart as the, what's the term? The thing that holds the metal is for the gold. or as the furnace is for silver. You know? Have you guys read that proverb or heard that proverb? So, yeah, when I put metal in fire and I melt it, what happens is all the impurities in the metal raise to the top, and then you scrape them off. Sometimes I need to be stewing in the fire for a while. And guess what? It does not look like movement's happening there. It's like, God, it's hot. I'm tired. I want to go home. I want to move on to the next step. But sometimes I need that, where it feels like things are just stagnant and not moving, and all my dreams, where are my dreams going? That's the purifying process, when those things are thrown out in front of me and it's like, wow, I really don't have the ability to move forward right now. Are these things really where my hope is lying? And are these things what my hope should be lying in? And that's part of that purifying process, where those things start to come up so they can be scraped away. And so like me, with like, I'm gonna be honest, missionary piloting, that's like something I have told other people, like, I am going to be this. I am going to do this. I have trained and put in hours to do this. I have a lot of hope in doing that. I have a lot of identity wrapped up in working toward and doing that someday. That can't be where I'm getting my hope and identity from. Doing that thing, producing that thing. Sometimes those have to be raised up to the top, and just like Abraham did with Isaac, where he's like, look, God, I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can do what you said you were going to do. So if you're now asking me to do this, I'm going to do it, because I know you're still going to hold up your end of the bargain. So sometimes I have to put those things on the altar and be like, all right, God, if you want to kill them, you can kill them. If you want to burn those things away and that not be what I produce in this lifetime, then okay. My hope is not in those things which I'm producing. My hope is in you. I realize that I am a part of a bigger story, that what I do doesn't necessarily, like what I do, what I produce, what I think is important to produce does not necessarily like fill this section of that story, you know? There's been plenty of times God's asked me, he's like, all right, what you did in that person's life, how that person was changed that one time, if that's all I choose to use you for, Philip, are you going to be okay with that? Understanding that that was your part in the story. That was your part to play. It's like, wow. Honestly, I don't think I'm okay with that, God. I want to be used for something bigger, you know? I read these books about these great men and women of faith. I want to be like that. I want to have that kind of influence. But what about, like, who led Billy Graham to the Lord? I don't know his name. Who knows his name? That guy had one little part in the story. You know his name, Joel? Joel knows his name. Very cool. So, like, that guy is not well known. He had a part in a story. His life didn't look extravagant and leading crusades, but he had a part in the story. I don't know exactly what my part is in the story is. Maybe it was just changing that one guy's life, and God gets to, like, I'm allowed to, like, look like I'm participating up here sometimes on Sundays, you know. But understanding I'm a part of a bigger story. I get to play a part in this story. And even it's just like the mention in Hebrews 11 of like, and all of the other people. Like, even if my only mention is like, and all of the other people, and I'm just like one of those, all the other people. Like, each of us is a part of a story that's bigger than us. If God chooses to use us for something great in that story, amazing. I want to be there to cheer you on. I want to be there to encourage you in it and give you the help you need. But when I'm so wrapped up in like, where is my part in the story? I want my part to be the biggest and most significant, life-changing part that people will make movies about. I'm missing it, because where is my hope lying? Where's my identity lying? It's not in what I produce here. It's I am living for that. Things I produce here should be like great relationships with people, loving people, pouring out to other people, but not like how we think of, making a product for someone, or making my story being great and impacting people years later. We're part of something bigger than us, where we have an identity and we have a security for our lives and understanding that this thing carries on and we get to carry on with it. God gave me a vision, and it was, the only way I know how to describe it is like, a boat goes through the water and there's all like the ripples coming out behind. So it was like, it was like black and white, and it was like streaks of white going across, and there are ripples going and then fading. And God was saying, like, these are great and significant men and women of the faith in the past. And all of their ripples would eventually ripple out and disappear. But there was one that was Jesus's that went by and the ripples never disappeared. He's like, look, that guy is the guy. I get to play a part. But I understand that whatever ripples I make, they're going to disappear. Chances are, 200 years from now, nobody's going to know who Philip Mole was. Chances are, 100 years from now, nobody's going to know who Philip Mole was. So maybe like that was like my great-grandpa, maybe. What I do is going to ripple out. It's gonna go away. It's not going to be remembered forever. But I do have a part in this story. I actually have a part in this story to make an impact in someone's life, maybe multiple people's life. But I'm not living for that product. Because if I live for that, and as soon as I realize, hey, whatever I produce on this earth is going to disappear, where's my hope? It's something bigger. It's much bigger. All right. So, quick recap. Today is, yesterday was Andrew's birthday, so that's a recap. Happy birthday, bro. We all love you. We're all super thankful for you. We had an awesome panel. People said amazing things. Does anyone want to throw out something that like stuck with them from the panel, or like, ooh, that was a good point? That was a snappable moment from the panel talk. Nathan?
I really like Stephanie's conference, like looking back and think, oh wow, I get this because how far I've gone.
So when Stephanie, I'm repeating so that people on the live stream can hear. When Stephanie was like, when I look back and see what God has done, that helps give me that hope and security for the future. Andrew?
Nobody said these things, but this was my takeaway.
Okay.
The purpose of patience is excellence.
And Andrew said, like, what his takeaway was, the purpose of patience is excellence.
That you can't do anything up to God's standard when you rush to do your own.
That's good.
That's why I love his patience, because it's excellent.
That's good.
And then I wrote, patience is perspective of the process.
Hmm.
Because when you have
Patience is perspective of the process.
You know what you're doing is going to accomplish something.
Yeah.
You're not worried and stressed and frantic when you don't know where you are in the process.
Mhm.
Patience.
It's perspective of the process. Patience is perspective of the process. It's good. We talked about stress and worry not being able to produce patience. When we have stress and worry, we are not able to produce patience. But when we have identity and security, those things really enable us to produce patience. Lecrae's Boasting song, if anyone wants to look that up later, really good. Lecrae, Boasting, that's the whole thing. We need to be honest with ourselves where we're at so that God can start to speak those things and bring that healing and change of perspective into us. Oh, I missed a part, so I'm going to go back to it. How many of you have read the book Habakkuk? Habakkuk, however you want to pronounce it. I love that because that whole book is Habakkuk bringing a question to God and being honest about, God, I don't see what you're doing in this process. And it's even, he brings character questions. What is your character, God? Because I've heard you say these things, but I'm seeing these other things. God, what is your character? And it's a back and forth of him being honest to bring these questions to God, and God speaking truth into him and giving him that perspective, which allows him, even in a bad situation, he's saying, look, these things are coming upon us and harming us. Are you a good and protective God? And after that dialogue with the God, where he gains a new perspective, he's able to praise. I'm not able to praise when I'm impatient. You know? He was able to praise. He was in a place of security and identity. He was able to praise from that. All right. So now we all know that all we have to do in our lives is just go home and just get some patience and perspective and identity, right? And just make that happen, you know? We cannot produce that, okay? We have to be willing and ready to accept that identity. And in order to accept, sometimes we have to get the car out of the VHS player, get that thing we're not being honest about, we're not being like truly bringing. We got to get that out, and then we can receive the Jesus VHS, the VeggieTales David episode. Okay. Awesome. That's really all I got. We can break off into groups and discuss this topic. You guys can discuss like, hey, this is where I need to be honest. This is something that I'm honestly feeling. Like I honestly have my hope in these things. Or like I honestly have no patience for this person and I'm not sure why. We can bring those things to each other. Or if it's just like, I don't know how to get this identity. Let's pray for each other. Listen for each other, all right? Does that sound good? We can go in groups of 2 or 3. We can break in. Yes, everyone who's been joining us online, you can do it at home as well. You can find 2 or 3 people around you and do this at home. And if there's no one around you, FaceTime somebody because we have cell phones. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again later.